guys, welcome back to the Forgetful Scholar, and this week it's one book. So, I had like a really bad cold this week. It took me like 8 days to get over it. Happens every year. Oh, hello, Rumi, hello. Oh, okay, oh, no, okay. Okay, it happens every year, and I just wasn't up to reading a lot. So it was really kind of a slow going, even though this book is 392 pages. It took me all week. What can I say? So it's a historical paranormal romance, and it is Believe in Me, Vikings and Saxons, book 2 by Josie Litton. Now, I couldn't find the picture of the cover of it alone. I could only find it in the bundle, the one that I got at the thrift store with last week's book. What was it? Dream of Me. So that's gonna have to do. Sorry. So, like I said, this is 392 pages. This reprint was like 2003. I would say this is a 4-star. I'm kind of surprised too, because I did have a lot of fun. So, now, this is Hawk's story, and he's the sister from Dream of Me book. Again, the title. Actually, the title makes a little bit more sense in this go around, which, okay, cool. A little bit of improvement, so that's not bad. So it's Hawk's story, right? And we know Hawk from Dream of Me. He made so many problems for his sister and the Viking wolf that she married. And again, I'm going to say the male names in these books, ridiculous. His name is Hawk. His new brother-in-law, his name is Wolf. Wolf's younger brother is Dragon. That's just the way it is, okay? Again, there's no year stated, but King Alfred is out and about, so 1100, 1200, around there, right? So Hawk is the Saxon, and Wolf's great idea to make Vikings and Saxons have an alliance against the Danes is through marriage, which tried and true, right? Tried and true. So I just realized I was gonna look up something for this video. I'll just put the text when the time comes. Anyway, sorry, I'm all over the place. I'll try to be a little bit more on topic. So, Krista is the Viking, and Wolf basically went to her half brother's land. It was like, she'll do. So this is like forced marriage and mistaken identity. Now, the thing with mistaken identity, if it goes on too long, I freaking hate it. Like, it goes from like, ooh, I'm having so much fun, to like, oh, I freaking hate all of this. Like, on turn of a dime. Like, a turn of a dime, right? So, that being said, I will say that this mistaken identity didn't last. It didn't go on for too long. I think it was like the sweet spot, you know what I mean? Because I was still entertained by it. Krista goes to Wolf's keep or land that's called Hawk Fort. Not Wolf's, Hawk's land, kingdom, castle that's called Hawk Fort, because names in this book. Sure. So, but she goes disguised as a servant, and she goes with her two, I wouldn't call them servants, I would call them friends, a female named Raven and a male named Thor Gold. Okay. So Hawk is immediately like, oh, that servant's hot. No, I can't. It's a servant of my future betrothed. La. So Hawk, the thing about Hawk that we learned in the first book, he's very honorable, but he's dramatic as hell, right? So I was like, okay, in his story, is he gonna meet someone that is less dramatic? Like, maybe she's like the calm one? Cool. You don't see that a lot. Interesting. No, Krista is just as dramatic. No, I think more dramatic than Hawk. Like, I'm like, oh, she met his dramatic, and like, I'll raise you 10. I'm like, okay, all right, this could be fun, right? This could be fun. So she just goes there disguised as a servant, because her idea, and I'm going to say this off the bat, she's not that smart. Like, she's not an idiot, and I get the author was trying to make her naive and sheltered, but like, I don't know, it just borderlined on dumb for me. And I was just like, like, no common sense. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I think I know what the author was going for, but like, no common sense. So the thing is, Krista has her own abilities. So her mother, so in the beginning of the book, we don't know if her mother was fae or a mermaid or a siren or whatever, because apparently there's like a curse with these powers, and if you feel too sorrowful, and Krista's mother was depressed because Krista's father didn't love her, and she loved him, that she walked into the ocean, right? So I was like, what is she, a mermaid or maybe a siren or something? And Raven and Thorgold have been with Krista forever, right? And right off the bat, we know something's up, right? Because Hawk describes Thorgold as he looks like a troll-looking man. And I'm like, no, he's probably just a troll. And Raven, you might have guessed because of the name, turns into a raven. No, I think Raven is a raven that turns into a human, not the other way around, right? I know that doesn't seem like distinction, but it is, because I think the author did a good job of Raven's mannerisms being very like bird-like and not like a human that can turn into a bird, but more, it felt more like a bird that turns into a human, right? So Krista can see, not only can she see, because like everybody can see them. So I thought like the description, she sees ghosts or something, because seeing things no one else can. Everybody sees her servants. And later on, even more otherworldly creatures pop up and everyone sees them. So it's not that she's the only one that can see them. It seems like her ability is that she could pull creatures from the other side to here. And if she gets too depressed, sad, lonely, she can, the counter of that is that the other side pulls her. So that's what happened to her mother. The other side pulled her and she wasn't strong enough not to go. And I do like magic or powers that have consequence. Like in the first book, Hawk's sister was such a powerful empath, she was losing her mind. So Hawk had to isolate her for her own sanity. So I do enjoy that there's like a price to pay, you know? I do enjoy that. But through this whole book, I was like, is she half fae or is she just a person with powers? And we don't really get the answer to that. If she's like half fae, half siren, or if she just is a human with these powers. Thorngold kind of says, you know, perhaps she's half changeling, or perhaps she's just a woman that has these powers. And he says that like on page 300. And I'm like, Thorngold, it's a little late, bro. I spent 300 pages trying to figure out, a little late. So she disguises a servant, and of course it's lust at first sight, which I was like, okay, here we go. And Hawk is like mentally torturing himself about it, because he's like, I can't be attracted to her. I'm not gonna be attracted to her. Like, what am I, an idiot? You know? Yeah, a little, but you know? And then because it was raining, he realizes her hair, because she dyed her hair black, or like put coal on it to make it look black. And he realizes it's not her true hair color. And then we see Hawk's got some brains. So he kind of lures her into his bedroom and like dumps her in a bath of water. And, you know, it's discovered that she's really Lady Krista. He's pissed. I get it. I think she was a little bit more on the defensive side than I thought she was. Also, this is page 60, so it didn't go on too long. But so far, we didn't really get... I kind of got the Krista's stubborn, and maybe not all, doesn't have a big common sense kind of a thing. Because even, like, her servants who aren't human were like, bro, you can't let this go on too long. It's gonna backfire big. And she's like, no. So I was like, okay, she's stubborn. I don't mind that. I like seeing that. Cool, you know? The hair runs off. She's, like, golden red. Like, you know, he realizes who she is. He's pissed. She's a little bit more defensive than I thought she would be, but again, this is sort of, we're still getting to know her, so I'm like, okay, don't mind. I don't mind it, you know, little different, a little more character depth, let's go, you know. And she likes him and is like, I just wanted to get to know you. And the thing is, she did all this because she wanted to, like, it wasn't quite clear, like, she wanted to question his servants to see if he's a good man, so that she would feel safer to love him, so she wouldn't be called to the sea. Now, that is as concise as I can make it. So imagine reading that and being like, wait, what? I did find this one scene when she's talking to Raven, and she kind of has, she cries and she has a little bit of breakdown because, and like this really got me. And she's like, wasn't my love enough to keep my mother here? Didn't she love me enough to keep me here, right? And Raven's like, no, she loved you so much. It's like, obviously not enough because her mom ditched, right? So I kind of, that scene was so sad, but also like, so I loved it because it showed some depth to this character, And I was kind of hoping she would have been a little bit more closed off with everything, kept isolated from her dad's first family. Her siblings like hate her. Her mother, apparently her mother didn't end herself, but like it kind of, she's never coming back, so it's pretty much the same thing. So I kind of wanted her to be a little bit more defensive, and that really rarely happens in romance novels. I find historical romance novels, like, and done well. I think The Devil That Tamed Her by Johanna Lindsey. I think that one was such a masterclass because Ophelia, the main girl in that one, was the bad guy in the first book, and in this book, through her story and her romance with Raph, you kind of find out why she's so closed off and why she protects herself by like kind of attacking other people, and she's such an interesting, different romance heroine because of that, So I was kind of hoping Krista might show signs of that, but like she has like, no, she's completely, like I said, I think she's supposed to be naive and like sheltered. No common sense was had. No common sense existed in that pretty little head of hers. Like, and some of the things she does, I'm like, wait, what? No, wait, really? Because like, her idea of coming as a servant just didn't, I don't know. For me, it didn't seem like enough of a reason to do it. You know what I mean? It seemed kind of flimsy, but you get that she believes it. So you're kind of like, okay, but I don't know, there's not enough at that point in the beginning of the book. I feel like there's not enough like maybe emotional attachment to her, because for the rest of the book you're kind of like, she's a dummy, which is too bad, right? She's very nice and everything, and of course, his Hawk's older half sister Daria is there, and she's like just horrible person. She does horrible things. I really enjoyed her comeuppance in this. I really liked it. Because you guys know, bloodthirsty. And I liked it. And she's like, she's like, I wanted to get to know you. And he's like, oh, okay, we'll do that then. Which I thought was really sweet. Because you have to understand, in the Middle Ages, there was no such thing as like dating or courting. It was like, whoever owned the woman, so like father, older brother, or whatever, would go into contract if you were in the higher echelon of titles and everything like that. Go into contract with whoever you wanted to marry her off to, and they more than any like they usually met at the altar. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, imagine how terrifying. Take away from everything married to this stranger. You don't know if they're kind. You don't know, what's going to happen to you. Most of the time you didn't have any idea about sex. And then, boom. You know what I mean? Terrifying. So the fact that he's like, oh yeah, okay. And I was just like, this is cute. Because like, what? Courting? Like if we're doing historical understanding, courting in like 1800s English kind of courting, I don't know when that started. Maybe like 1500s. I'll have to fact check that, and I'll put time period here. So like I was like, oh, that's really sweet, Hawk. That's nice. That's nice. And so they kind of get to know each other a little bit. They go on dates, even though they don't know what they're doing. They go on dates. It's very cute. And she's like, and her half brother shows up, denounces her. Hawk is furious with the half brother. Going to kill him. She's like, you can't kill him. The whole point of this is peace. And now she's like, I can't marry you because didn't you hear him? He says I'm a changeling. And he's like, you're not a changeling. And this is around page 200. And I'm like, is this the third act conflict? Because it's starting kind of early. Also, Hawk, I can't believe you're just sort of dismissing it out of hand. I'm happy that, like, because he's already, even though he doesn't say it, he doesn't verbalize the words, it's pretty obvious that he's in love with her, and it's very, very cute. You know, but like, he's like, oh, that stuff is nonsense. And I was like, do you not remember your poor sister that you had to isolate like Rapunzel because she was losing her mind because she felt the pain of others? What are you talking about? So like, that's when I started getting really annoyed with Hawk, because like, you are familiar with women with powers. What has happened? Did you get a lobotomy all of a sudden? And I don't know why I said that like William Shatner, but here we go. Did you get a lobotomy all of a sudden? Like, what is going on? And she's like, I can't marry you because I love you and I don't want to, take you down with me because I'm also disowned. So this one alliance wouldn't be for anything. And in the middle of this, he has to go to court. So he goes to the Alfred's court, and we didn't know then, but he's there to weed out a traitor or possible traitor. I love that Krista got like really close with the queen, and the queen was feeling very motherly towards her, and it was really cute. Krista gets kidnapped a lot in this book, by the way. Like, it's not once. I will say in the middle of this, another troll shows up because we know that Thor Gold is a troll, right? We know this. And I don't mean internet troll. I mean like, pay the toll to cross the bridge. I'm gonna eat you, human troll, right? And a troll pops up in the middle of the bridge to kind of give a distraction for Krista to go. Now, would I have liked to seen if she was in conscious control of her abilities? Yes, I really, really would have liked this. Because so far, her abilities seem very passive and almost like people show up from the other side whenever they want. So I really would have liked, like, in her point of view, to feel her, like, pulling or calling out for help internally, So I feel that was a little sloppy, She basically gets a chance to flee, which I really like that she saved herself in a way. Hawk is freaking out, but with Thorngold's help, he was able to find her. And the ravens, because like the human raven kind of disappears around page 200, but ravens in the sky are everywhere, right? So I don't know if the author just decided not to put her in human form again. I don't know what the hell that was about. Even like in the happy ending, we don't really see her again in human form. And also I was like, but you guys are called to her. Wouldn't you know where she is no matter what? So that was weird. And then the second time she gets kidnapped, I'm like, again? And it's just, there's this point, like, I get it. She's supposed to be sheltered, naive, but like, literally, she was the last one to know that she was pregnant. Spoiler alert. Last one to know. It's really rare in romance novels where the guy knows the girl's pregnant before that, I'm like, like, I get it. I get what the author was going for, but for me, it just didn't translate. It just translated to her being kind of a bimbo. A nice, sweet, stubborn, not so smart girl, which was contrast for her because she was like well-read. She knew how to read and stuff like that. It was very rare back then. So like, I'm like, okay, she's not she's book smart. And maybe her naivete just kind of meant like socially she's not very good. And she was isolated and stuff. So, Now, why is it not 5-star? Because I did have a great time. I loved the ending. But, like, at page 300, Hawk is like, oh, well, I am very familiar with women with powers. I'm like, you think? You think? Page 300? That's been months. You forgot about your little sister? Like, like, this is what I say. Like, they're both, and they're both really dramatic. And not, like, common sense just doesn't exist. They're both super dramatic. I'm like, okay, great. You guys deserve each other there, I guess. But it's 4 stars because there was a lot of Christianity in this book. Like, the first book, Hawk is a pagan and Simbra is Catholic or Christian. And it's fine. He respects her religion. She respects his, like a very blended, different religious family. It was very nice. This one, like, it was weird to me that she was Christian since she's a Viking, especially back in that time, it was very odd to me. And And there was just a lot of like God talk, and I don't really like that in my books and any religion. Like it always for me, it comes off preachy, and turns me off a little bit. So for me, for my preference, I gave it 4 star because there's just too much Christian God talk in it, and I'm like, but she's Viking, and like the people who raised her are like a raven that turns human and a freaking troll. You know, like I was just like, make it make sense for her. Like I get it, the monk taught her how to read, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she would. You know what I'm saying? It was weird. Also, I could be like, oh, like if she was just a little bit more damaged. I know that sounds weird, but if I felt she would have had more depth, and if she was like, well, like a little bit more pragmatic, be like, well, I'll just let them think it is because then they won't ever think I'm a changeling. Because she thought she was a changeling. Even though it's kind of implied that she's just a mortal woman that has powers. Okay. So that was 4 stars. And I can't believe I gabbed this long about one book. But here we are. I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you later. Bye.